RoughRiders start a series against the Midland Rockhounds today, and I'm joined by Steve Buechele. Steve, the roller coaster first came to the United States 129 years ago today. I can't think of a more apt comparison for your team this week.
Yeah, hot and cold, up and down, around the corner, I guess, steep falls and high rises. But you know what? All in all, it's been pretty good. I think this is a team, some of the games you win, you feel like you're lucky to win them. We've talked about this. And after you lose a few, you feel like there's no chance of winning one for another 8-9 games. But these guys persevere and they find ways, and when you least expect it, they pull one out.
The start of the Corpus Christi series, we've talked about such an important series with the two teams fighting for first place and a playoff spot. It started so promising, getting a couple runs early against Buchanan, a guy who had really dominated in this league. To see that ball game go the way it did, is that just really getting off to a wrong start, setting the wrong tone for their kind of series that's that important?
Yeah, maybe for the series, but I think if you look at that game and these kids in that locker room out there knew exactly where they stood. They wanted that first game, and we came out swinging and against someone that we haven't had much success against. And and unfortunately for us, the two guys that, and I'm not saying unfortunately, but we had two young kids that had never been in that situation, and I think they were nervous. They'll both admit it to you, and I look at it as a great experience for those guys, to get a chance to be in a position like that. But yeah, to start the series like that was kind of heartbreaking. But shoot, that's a good team. I think they won the first half for a reason. They played better. They're a better team. So we'll give it a go from here on out.
After the team was eliminated on Friday night, is there anything that you said to the team either that night or before the next game, talking about refocusing or looking forward to the second half?
No, the first half is still going on. So we have, I believe, today and tomorrow until the half's over. And, I may address them. I've thought about it, just, the halfway point, kind of talk to them. Or I think more likely would be the chat with them right before the All-Star break, before they take the 2 days off and see. But, to recap the first half, I think I'm pretty pleased. I think these guys have done a great job.
One particular performance from last night's game that I wanted to ask you about was on the pitching side, but not the starter. Ramirez obviously very good. We've talked a lot about him. But Richard Bleier really maybe looked the best that he had all season, and it's been a trend that he's continued over the last couple of weeks. What have you seen from Richard that's been impressive?
I think Richard's more comfortable in a reliever role. I think he's one of the guys that if you move him to a starter and back and forth and he doesn't get set into a routine, I think that affects how he goes about pitching. I think as a starter, he looks down the road and realizes he needs to go 4 or 5 innings, and get those outs. As a reliever, I think he's more focused coming in and getting his inning or two of work. And he was great last night. We needed that one last night, too, especially out of Richard. So hats off to Richard. He's done a great job.
When you go back to the beginning of the week, that great comeback win against Midland, and then the game that you guys lost in Midland, you threatened at the end there and tried to come back and steal another ball game. You must like the fight that this team shows late in close ball games, even if they don't come away with a win, just to have that opportunity with a tying or go-ahead run in scoring position.
Yeah, something I and the organization stresses, you play the whole game. And over the course of 140 games in the minor leagues or 162 in the big leagues, you're going to have bad games. But I think the focus is to finish every game, go at it with what you got and see what happens. And, I love the fight in these kids, especially the young group like they are, to see them come back at the end or to play the game out is what I like seeing the most.
Here with RoughRiders manager Steve Buechele, the All-Star rosters were announced last week, and you already knew that you were going along with Jason, Jeff, Carlos, and Eric as part of the team that's representing the South Division. I'm sure there are other things that all 5 of you would prefer to be doing, given that there are so few days off over the course of the season. But in a way, are you looking forward to being able to be around that environment?
Yeah, I've never done it. So in a way, I am looking forward to it. Would all of us like to have those 2 days off with the family? Sure, but I don't think any of us have done it in the Texas League, so this is our first chance to do it. And luckily, we open up right after the All-Star game up north, so it's not travel-wise not too inconvenient. Other than missing the 2 days with family, I think it'll be a fun experience.
And you're going to have a lot of familiar faces there with you. 8 players on this team are going to be a part of that all-star roster. Ties Arkansas for the most in the Texas League. And a few of the guys I want to touch on. Brett Nicholas obviously has been the heart of the offense. And, you and I almost we don't talk a whole lot about him, and it's easy to take him for granted, but what a season he's having, and really unexpected based on what he had done previously.
Yeah, he's been great. And I'm not going to say you take him for granted, but yesterday after catching the 12-inning game or the whatever it was the night before, I decided to give him a day off, and as I was making out my lineup card, I'm like, oh boy, it just doesn't look quite the same without Brett in there. So he's quietly gone along and had himself a great season. He's an extremely hard worker. He's got a good sense of humor. He's a big voice in the clubhouse. It's certainly, like you said, he's been the glue for our offense.
Tomas Talis is a guy who's come along offensively lately. We talk about roller coasters. He's had his peaks and his valleys, but here in this month, 3 home runs, and the bonus, he wins somebody a car the other night.
Yeah, and I didn't even know it, but I figured someone won something. The fans kept cheering, so I knew something was going on. But that was pretty special to see. To win a car, that's a good day at the ballpark when you come and get to walk away with a brand new Jeep.
And for Tomas himself, just the improvement that he's shown after struggling through this high level at times this season.
Yeah, and I think it's very typical of a young kid in his first year in Double-A. Especially I think you've seen it sometimes in the lack of concentration behind the plate, lack of concentration while he's hitting. I think it's all part of it, and probably the focus for the second half for Tommy to be focused defensively and offensively every day. Kind of growing up, maturing. I think that'll kind of be the theme with the younger kids for the second half. Is growing up a little bit, maturing, and going about it the right way. Not that they haven't, but they can certainly be better.
Finally, the last All-Star I want to ask you about is the first one you asked me about when I told you I had the rosters. That's Wilder Rodriguez. 13 years, makes his first professional All-Star team, and I know that had to have been the one that you wanted to see the most.
If I wish I had known that he had never made an All-Star team before I told him. And I was actually shocked that he hadn't made one. But when I did tell him, the smile on his face, and he was just so excited, and he said, oh, this is my first one. I think the excitement in his face, makes it exciting for us to be part of that team as well. Just seeing how happy the kids are, and especially Gilder was awesome.
Finally, Boo, happy Father's Day to you. After the game tonight, anything the kids are planning on for you?
I don't think so. They've already kind of gave Dad the cards today and spent a little time together. So afterwards, we'll probably grab a bite to eat. But and my wishes, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. But no, just another quiet night. Just another baseball game is what it is.
Right in the middle of a 12-game homestand. Well, Boo, happy Father's Day again. Congratulations on the win last night. Thanks so much for the time.
You bet. Thanks, Alex.
That's RoughRiders manager Steve Buechele. We're back after this on the Frisco RoughRiders Baseball Network.